swarming the Hill City for a swampy edition of women's lacrosse in Lynchburg. So excited you are joining us for the Southern Virginia Knights coming into town to take on the Lynchburg Hornets. It is game number 3 of the Hornets campaign, game number 2 here on Schellenberger Field, and I'm with my good friend Sam Graham. My name is Evan Gates. So glad that you are joining us, and really just going to be another awesome opportunity to see what this team brings to the table. They're young, lots of upside, and the Mackenzie Rafferty era just continues with another one today.
It's officially begun, especially once you get that first win under your belt. Not like she is a stranger to winning, obviously coming here from Florida Tech, but got her first one in her back pocket now at Lynchburg, that win over Methodist over the weekend. So certainly that's got to be a nice feeling. You get acclimated to a place. It's helpful starting in the spring. She's been able to get her feet under, get her bearings here in the Hill City. But then you especially start to get used to things in terms of running your program. And you mentioned it's a pretty young team still, but it's a team that I think feels a lot more mature and a lot older than it is. You look at so many of those freshmen. Sydney Dumas is one that we're going to have our eye on a lot. They got so much playing time when they were freshmen. Now they're sophomores, so not technically upperclassmen, but it kind of feels that way. And I think that's one of the things we're going to watch as this year progresses, because obviously each game is just a microcosm of that season. And I think seeing how much growth Lynchburg can show and how much maturity it can show is going to be a massive ingredient when you talk about overall success.
Well, it's going to be a game that features 2 first-year coaches here at their respective programs. And as we look at the stats, the tail of the tape, you can tell these 2 teams are really ready to go. And this is a Southern Virginia squad that is very apt to shoot, 47% shot percentage last season. And so they have been really making sure that they fire their opportunities. But Lynchburg, a team that can do a little bit of everything. We mentioned Sydney Dumas. They have lots of assets at the right parts of the field. And then we know that new goalies on this team as well are really going to make big contributions.
Absolutely. Well, when you talk about goalkeeper in particular, you want to look at things that we're going to measure as the year goes on. I think consistency in goal has got to be at the top of the list. Corinne West is going to get the start in goal today. And, Evan, we were talking before the game, sometimes just as a coach, just placing your confidence in that one person, even if maybe the stats don't fully back it up when you make that decision, I think there's often a very positive correlation in terms of play on the field from a goalkeeper, from a quarterback in football, a point guard in basketball. Once you just go with your gut, make that decision, and place your confidence in that person, I think it's a transitive property, and they feel the confidence as well. So certainly going to have our eyes in goal today, but also as this year progresses.
Absolutely, and Lynchburg last season opened the year 0-4. You're just thinking about momentum, right? This squad is very familiar with each other, and Coach Rafferty has done just a fantastic job to start the season of instilling her trust in the program. You just think that everybody, you get the sense they're ready to play, especially after that game versus Methodist. Very nice win for the Hornets.
Obviously, you took the lid off the proverbial basket a lot earlier than you did last year, and I know that once they got that first win, they strung it together with a second. You talk about confidence, nothing does that like winning. So getting that win over Methodist early, you got a lot of winnable games in this non-conference slate, and this is a Lynchburg team that has had a lot of success within the conference, 5-3 records in each of the last 3 campaigns. So even though the overall record might not show the level of team that this Lynchburg program has been in recent history, if you look just within the conference, they're certainly competitive. Obviously, Washington and Lee is kind of the pinnacle, and they're going to continue to be the measuring stick, but we'll see if the overall record starts to show some of that improvement that we've already seen when you look at the conference slate only.
So much to uncover in this game. We're going to take a quick break for the national anthem. On the other side, we're going to have some keys to the game and get you ready for some more women's lacrosse action right here on Schellenberger Field. We'll be back in a moment.
My name is Davion Washington Jr. I have the honor of serving as the student body president. I have 5 little siblings. I'm the oldest of 6 siblings, and they look up to me. I'm setting the tone. I get to develop myself, make myself a better individual, but also I'm helping future generations, not even my family, but just future generations in general. I found my passion here. I found, the love for what I want to do. I just really had an amazing time here. It's changed, my outlook on life. You don't have to be famous to change lives. You don't have to be on the big screen or whatever. I change lives now, and I hope to continue to do that. And just same way that the University of Lynchburg has changed my life for the better.
Welcome to the Campus Recreational Department at the University of Lynchburg. We believe in a student-centered approach to recreation, making sure that all students have fun and engaging activities that promotes wellness, personal growth, and community building.
Our team works to provide a variety of recreation opportunities for all our undergrad and graduate students.
Let's take a look at the different areas of Campus Rec.
Campus Recreation covers all outdoor recreation. Our team offers dozens of trips per semester, maintains recreation facilities on campus, and offers outdoor certificates and leadership training.
Intramurals is open to all students who wants to play on a team. We have men's, women's, and co-ed leagues for each sport we offer.
Those looking for next level competition can join club sports. These are student-led organizations with the support of Campus Recreation. You can join one of our established club sports, or you can start your own with our support.
Campus Recreation offers an excellent amount of opportunities to stay active, make new friends, and develop new skills. We hope to see you soon.
Back inside the Hill City, Evan Gates and Sam Graham taking you through game number 3 of this 2024 campaign. And Sam, keys to the game on the way.
Yeah, we'll start with our visitors today, the Knights of Southern Virginia, obviously coming in with that 1-0 record, trying to make it 2-0, and this is what they're going to look to do to make it happen. You got to jam those lanes. You got to force Lynchburg out of position. You mentioned a Lynchburg team, not great shooting last year, a little bit better in the early going this year. If you can keep that shooting percentage north of 40, you're doing something right. Southern Virginia was able to do that a year ago, but the first thing that you want to do in stopping that is forcing Lynchburg out of those comfortable positions. And secondary, you got to prize the possessions. Lynchburg's been good at causing turnovers. They've been good at prizing their own possessions, and they're good in the draw circle. Now, Southern Virginia is as well, but it's not just getting the possessions. It's making the most of them, getting quality shots, and it is a little bit about getting as many possessions as you can get. On the Lynchburg side of things, you got to make them feel you. Southern Virginia, a good shooting team a year ago, a great shooting team in their one-game sample size early this year, 55%. From the field in that season opening win. Lynchburg has got to be aggressive on defense. I think they did a nice job of that against Methodist, playing tight in that man defense. They got to keep that up here tonight. And finally, generate the free ones. This is a Lynchburg team that a season ago was great at getting to those free position shots, those free opportunities. Been solid in the early going, 5 per game, but I think they can do even a little bit better. So be aggressive on offense and defense.
So much to consider as we get started. 2 first-time goalies with their respective programs, 2 first-time coaches with their respective programs. We're in the draw circle and about to be up and away from Schellenberger Field. A fresh 60 minutes on the clock as Bradley and England get ready to get set. And here we go. Lynchburg in the home whites and Southern Virginia in the maroon, moving right to left. Will be interesting early on, just how can you get your momentum? We know Lynchburg in that last game against Methodist was very strong from the gun.
2 teams that in their last time out, you could certainly say that about Evan. You know, for Southern Virginia, it was to the tune of a 12-2 halftime advantage. Lynchburg got out to that 9-1 start. Obviously, we had the weather delay. Weather's been a bit of an issue in the early going today. And we got another issue down below already. Green card going against Sydney Dumas.
Took 28 seconds to get our first cardage of the game.
Well, and Evan, we were talking before the game, Sydney Dumas was fantastic, one of the best freshman campaigns you would see, but Lynchburg needs her to be on the field. Had a little bit of trouble with the cards at times last year. They just need to get her out there as much as possible. She's so valuable for this offense.
Well, consistency is always key, and really at every position. We know that we talk about Lynchburg's offense with Hauser and Dumas, what they've been able to accomplish in their first couple of games. We saw Sydney Dumas with 2 hat tricks, Hauser with 1 in her last game, but this is also a Southern Virginia squad that can get it done. Ground ball picked up, but off the mark. Knights will have a second opportunity.
Lynchburg coming out with a little bit of zone on the defensive end, did a good job there poking it away, but just weren't able to hustle down the loose ball. Southern Virginia going to get another crack at it.
Getting good looks from behind the goal, and here's a clear opportunity for Lynchburg. Can't give them those open alleys throughout this game because they will certainly try and take advantage. As we see Doherty working to the goal, she will take it out. Opportunities for the Hornets. If they can get them early, they would love to get on the scoreboard early.
Now Lynchburg will set up that offense. Remember, it runs a lot through motion, off the ball movement, a lot of cuts, and maybe not going to assist on a high percentage of goals. Got a lot of players they feel like can move effectively with the ball in their sticks.
Well, you can afford those opportunities. And really, when you have isolation, you can build confidence for those newcomers in the system, trusting that they're going to have their fair share as the first free position shot is on the way. Waiting for the whistle, 13:07 in the opening quarter. Timberg takes it out. A nice pass right down low.
Waiting on the flag on that one. That's a lot of contact coming from both directions there against Steinau. She's trying to get in close to the goal. And again, Southern Virginia knows that's going to draw a flag, but you just feel like you got to apply some pressure defensively against this Lynchburg team.
Neely Morris this time saved. It was a nice look from Madison Sorensen in goal for Southern Virginia, the freshman from Riverton, Utah. Strong Utah contingent on this squad as Dumas mishandles. You got to go back even to the coaching staff. Olivia Cope in her opening season, 4-year athlete at BYU on the lacrosse team, also an assistant. She returned in 2019. As Dumas able to intercept, and now she has open ground.
This is dangerous.
Dumas winding back and just misses the mark. As Lynchburg will maintain possession. Going to see that so many times. If you've been familiar with this program, you know Dumas is always looking to wreak havoc. Here's another call inside the circle.
And here come those free ones. I mean, Lynchburg doing a great job getting in close to the goal. Southern Virginia doesn't have a ton of options other than to surrender some easy ones or get a little bit physical. But the downside to either way is you're giving up goals or you're giving up free positions. Lynchburg's just got to make them pay.
This time they do wind back and fire. It's the opening goal of the contest. And McKenna Steinau, the 5'8" sophomore from Annapolis, gets it done for goal number 1. Those free position shots, as we said, Lynchburg will make you pay. They have so many athletes on the squad who have a high goal-scoring tally, and yeah, just put it right through and into the net. Lynchburg up 1-0.
Steinau was one of the best on this team at the free position last season. Certainly gets it off and running today. The third opportunity of the game, and Evan, we've seen Lynchburg give you a couple different looks from that spot. When Emma Timberg drew the opportunity, she deferred, went to Sydney Dumas. So Lynchburg knows who they want taking the majority of their shots. And it's not that Timberg can't score, got a goal last game out. But again, you're doing a lot for your, shot quality, for lack of a better term, when you get the ball in the sticks of those top offensive threats.
Well, sometimes it doesn't even matter what hash mark you're coming from either, because some coaches will try to choose the right angles at the right times, but we know that Lynchburg's personnel, very deep squad comparatively in Division III. They are very comfortable as Baisden was able to collect, and now Southern Virginia working quickly.
Early 2-0 advantage in the circle here for SVU.
We'll see if that sticks. We know a few different players on this Lynchburg squad can go to the draw circle. Reagan Bradley, Neely Morris, two of those to consider.
Morris has been great. 5 in game 1, 4 in game 2. Led the team in both outings. That's
13 goals last season as well, so getting it done all around. As here's an opportunity. Dodging and getting to the goal and slides one through. The Knights have equalized, and quickly a very nice move.
Well, you want a name to know. The best one for that is going to be Kaya Baisden. Nobody better to do it on this Southern Virginia team. We talk about the dodge ability, the roll ability for these Lynchburg attackers. Well, Southern Virginia can do it as well. Baisden does it right there, just dodges quickly to the left against that one-on-one matchup and makes you pay.
30 goals in her freshman season, the senior from Middleton, Idaho, and we have just seen what she has been able to accomplish. You think about players on a roster. This was a roster that had lots of players who could get those goals at the right times. Leading scorer last year putting up 68 in the tally. And so we know Lynchburg as well having a few graduates, particularly Alla Daniel and Libby Kennedy, as SVU once again able to get the draw, trying to work quickly again.
3 straight to open the game here in the circle for SVU. You talk about prizing possessions. The very first point of attack to that point is getting it done in the draw circle.
Well, certainly difficult to even build momentum early as well when you are pinned back. Ground balls, draw controls, they can really win ball games.
Well, Evan, I mean, defense is objectively, it's hard to play. And Lynchburg, when you talk about gaining possessions, it's been asked to do that on the defensive end throughout the entirety of this game so far. That can wear on you the longer a game goes.
It's nice when you have that depth. Opportunity as the ball slips away, but the referee will call it. So free possession shot on the way. Almost hoping that you can get away with that one if you're a Hornets fan.
Yeah, they just about did. Tori King, believe, got hit with the slashing there.
So you see on your screen, SVU now another opportunity, and it's another shot that finds the back of the net. And SVU continuing to get it done early, number 22, and a very solid job from Piper Searley.
Searley, again, you talk about free position. They're harder on no one but the goalkeeper. You look at it there, again, Corinne West, when you're trying to get settled into your role, trying to get settled into a game, you do want to avoid those free position opportunities stacking up. And they have as well against Sorensen in goal for SVU, but both of these goalies are hoping that their defenses can play without fouling and, you know, kind of keep them clean. Best friend for a goalkeeper is a good defensive line protecting them, and I think both of these goalies, as we get in this game, are hoping they can get a little more help in that area.
Certainly some vulnerability early, and Reagan Bradley had a quick conversation with Tori King before this draw, trying to maybe strategize. It still doesn't work. Southern Virginia, so far, a perfect mark in that category.
Tori King shouldered a lot of the brunt of the draw circle work last year. You mentioned Alla Daniel, graduating senior. She did it a good bit as well. And Peyton Seville, who's unavailable today, is also capable there. So Lynchburg may be a little bit short-handed in the draw circle compared to a season ago. Again, Seville will be back, but we'll see if they turn to Neely Morris next time out.
Another opportunity working downhill. And the Knights just continuing to get exactly where they want to go. So you see Baisden, she is just such a good decision maker. It feels like she finds those spots. Here's the opportunity. Gets away from contact. Missed the shot, but referee put another whistle in the air. So we will do it again.
Well, let's talk about Baisden here. You look at your top point scorer. Evan, think about like the best point guards, a Chris Paul type. So good at that move when they feel a defender on their backside, slam on the brakes, make them run into you. Baisden is playing the position game and eventually does pay it off with the free position goal. She is on fire here to start things off for the Knights.
Really quality stuff from number 8 in maroon. Kaya Baisden does it again. 3-1 advantage Knights. Her stick might spend more time on the ground than it does in her hands if she continues at this rate. You knew she was going to take the shot in a situation like that as well, pretty much straight away. And her teammates really relying on her early in this contest.
Well, and she's so fast and knows it. She uses that speed to her advantage. It's easy to take those first 1 or 2 steps and go ahead and release, but that's a lower percentage shot because, I mean, you're further away from the goal. Not being afraid to just put your head down and make a run at the goal, it's a way higher percentage shot. It's like a layup versus a three-pointer.
You don't want to have a huge deficit early in this contest as Baisden collects. SVU keeps their streak alive. We know with the weather being crazy this week, Lynchburg is not a stranger to it. Their opening practice, they had snow during their time trials. Come back for your opening game, you have a hailstorm in February, and here you are essentially in a swamp for game number 2.
Evan, we were talking to our athletic director, John Waters, and he was laughing about that last game. Said it's not every day that in February you're having to pause a game due to a lightning delay, and that's certainly out of the ordinary, but, you know, Virginia weather, right? What are you going to do about it?
Always expecting the unexpected. Lynchburg, nice defense. Great check by Doherty. trying to keep the offense at bay. Lots of quick slips, trying to get to the goal. Always want to keep your stick up as well. Limit as much as you can. This time, offense still trying to roll. Shot from LeBaron off the mark. That's a name you're going to hear a few times as well. Roxy LeBaron, the senior from Alberta, Canada. 17 goals, 5 assists last season.
Tough break there for Lynchburg. Played some really solid defense. Just a little bit out hustled, getting to that loose ball. Got to hold up for a little longer.
SVU extending the possession. Surveying. Pass inside. Baisden did it again. She has been open all day long. Call her Waffle House. She has been on fire. And the Knights up 3 early in the first quarter.
First quarter hat trick for Baisden. She's got 75% of the production early on. You see her do it there on the cut. Once again, had her defender off her back shoulder. That time it was Kaylin Satterfield. Satterfield's a half second too late. Just about could have picked that one off, and we know she can. 4 caused turnovers against Methodist. But again, Baisden's just that fast. I mean, she can absolutely move, and it's been very productive early on.
It'll be a timeout. Let's keep it right here in the early goings from Schellenberger Field. We were talking about Kaya Baisden. Well, another asset last year for this SVU squad, as we mentioned a little earlier. Alyssa Johnson, 100 points on the season, and we know that some of those star players on other squads are going to have those numbers. Lynchburg doing it more by committee, but you think about Kaya Baisden, 6 points in her opening contest, 3 goals already in this one. She might be on the very same trajectory.
Absolutely, and those 100 points, not easy to come by when you talk about lacrosse. Obviously, for most people, they think about points in the field sports sense. You're thinking about soccer or field hockey or regular hockey as well when you talk about 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist. Well, in lacrosse, everything is equal. And it's kind of fun because, you're treating an assister as just as important to a scoring effort as the person who ultimately finishes it off. But, yeah, those 100 points, certainly no joke. But, yeah, Baisden, man, you talk about a hot start to a game. They don't get much hotter than today's. Roll back the tape a couple times, and you just see that speed on display. I mean, every single one of these highlights, the only difference you're going to see in this one is she does it coming off the ball. But in every single one of them, she's got her defender on her back hip. Lynchburg's going to have to do a great job rotating. They're going to have to shield her off, but you got to do it without applying too much contact as well. She's just been so elusive. And again, if you apply that contact, you're just going to send her to the free position, and that's just as dangerous.
Well, you wonder if you start face guarding, how long can you keep her out of this ball game? Because at least right now, SVU's offense has still been efficient, but she has been the main contributor. Just 2 seniors from this Knights squad graduated last season as well, so they are very familiar with each other despite having a smaller squad. And so you just wonder, as this game goes on, will their confidence grow? We know Lynchburg wants to try and get back in it early, and they have seen the other side of what they can do if they pull a comeback. Randolph-Macon in that conference tournament last year, 6 unanswered to end the game, and we know that they can compete against almost anybody in the ODAC, and so it's just about building trust, especially early in the season.
And this is a little different. This is a Lynchburg team that was very, very good in first halves last year. You trusted them to stick with just about anybody, at least for a quarter, if not for the entirety of a half. So to come out and get punched in the mouth a little bit like today has started is a bit surprising. But again, take that early timeout, collect yourself. It's only 4-1. It starts right here in the draw circle.
Coach Rafferty certainly had to mention it, but it doesn't matter. Knights will collect, but pass goes sailing. Who wants it? SVU continues to possess. Now they can slow things down, working over to Bruce. Long passing, not something you want to do. Finally, here's the turnover if you can get the ground ball. And Lynchburg will continue rolling. Here's Dumas looking for goal number 2 for the Hornets. Just loses it in the wrong spot. And Slash will keep it with SVU.
And again, you've already got that 1 green card. You just got to be cognizant of that if you're Sydney Dumas. Just got to be careful a little bit. But a big shout out to the freshman. Got the start today. Strano there working around in the midfield area. Just about forced 1 turnover. Then did force the other one. Just about picked up and assists to her name. Just when you talk about the inexperience a little bit, sometimes you just got to trap that ball. That first attempt at a caused turnover, she just kind of flung it up into the air, went right back to SVU.
Sometimes it's just about knowing how much time you have as well. Defenders in the area code, and as we have seen a lot early in this contest, Knights are able to settle down, try to get those patient looks. Can't really blame Corinne West for a lot of the shots that have gotten past in this contest. It's just been efficient offense.
Lynchburg sticking in man, again, with some of the speed, especially for Baisden, but this whole really SVU offense, we'll see how long Lynchburg sticks in this set D.
Continuing to keep an eye on Baisden, and opportunity now to possess. Who wants it? And finally, Lynchburg able to come away, just trying to get isolation and time. It was great work from Kaylin Satterfield, and here come the Hornets. Moving downhill, here's that isolation offense that we've talked about. This one almost swatted away, bounce it in. Lynchburg has goal number 2 and finally able to get another one on the scoreboard. It has been lots of back and forth, but Reagan Bradley able to get it done, the junior from Ocean Pines, Maryland.
Defense, left to right arrow emoji, offense. The steal, the winning those one-on-one matchups, cutting me off in my tracks really on the man defense. When it comes down to winning those one-on-one matchups, Kaylin Satterfield did it there, 5th caused turnover in the last 2 games, and Lynchburg very effective at turning those stops into immediate scores. We've seen a couple attempts at getting out in transition coming off a caused turnover. That's the first time they've been able to convert the transition opportunity into a goal. Credit to Reagan Bradley finishing it off. She lost that ball there for a second coming in.
That almost might be more impressive, the way that she could keep her composure and still slot it in. And so SVU up 4-2, 6:18 in this first quarter. Lots of stop and go, as we have seen an array of free position shots and a green card to open things up. Lynchburg just trying to get their handprint back on this game. And it might start in the draw circle, still searching.
Maya Hauser in there in the circle now.
This one will be caught, and Lynchburg able to take advantage of it one way or another. Here they come again, Neely Morris, and that was obvious contact for the referee.
Probably going to be a card here. Yep, official digging out the yellow card. That was all arm, kind of wrestled Neely Morris to the ground. Again, not intentional, that's why it's just a yellow, but nonetheless, pretty much any time a player hits the ground with that kind of force, the card's coming out.
And that's Addison England, the main draw taker for this SVU squad as well, so keep that in mind.
Worth noting, Evan, this is one of the longer first quarters I can remember over the last 2 years. Already about 15 minutes into this game, still 6 minutes to go in the period.
Sometimes you try to figure out, has it been very efficient offense, lack of defense, maybe a little bit of both. It has been lots of traffic. We've seen some transition opportunities. And now the Hornets finally able to settle into their offense and work it around.
Now last draw, again, coming off the penalty, but you got to get them any way that you can, and hopefully that'll open things up a bit at midfield.
Dumas trying to work to the middle, and there's some excessive contact. She will keep it. Number 7 has been so talented, the 5'5" sophomore from Kennebunk, Maine, wearing her sister's number, Leah Dumas, graduating a couple years ago, and obviously coming into this program, you hear that name a lot, but Sydney Dumas has quickly made a name for herself. Pass inserted, unable to collect, but we'll see if Lynchburg can get it back. Tori King has it. The referee will keep things with the Knights.
A bit of a break there for Southern Virginia. One of those lazy passes that we haven't seen much of. Been very efficient, crisp passing all around the clock. Got to watch those lazy passes, though. Lynchburg just about got itself another possession.
It's long passes as well, and obviously you got to get down the field one way or another. They've been able to settle quickly once they get there, but Lynchburg making them work now. Back check, and Lynchburg retains, trying to get the clear opportunity. The Hornets, when they get in transition, a tough team to beat, but here's the turnover. Patterson working to the goal.
Costly turnover there. Good job recovering for Lynchburg. Now Satterfield maybe trying to win it right back. Overselling a bit on the turnover attempts.
Lynchburg's defense has really stayed on its heels a lot of this contest. When SVU gets in that transition, they have done a great job of making their decisions early.
Well, I was ready to sing their praises, too. They did a good job meeting the Knights at the point of attack on that last transition opportunity, and it looked like they were going to get out of it with a caused turnover scotch-free, but instead, Kalen Satterfield gives it right back over to the Maroon.
Baisden trying to work in isolation. Drops off the pass. Ground ball collected for Lynchburg, and they can run. Hornets. Fresh green in front, but it won't be collected. Stays in. And here comes McKenna Steinau. Time and space to operate. 3:33 in the opening period. One of the longer ones that we have seen. Great slip into the middle. Sydney Dumas stick on the ground. And Lynchburg cuts the lead to 1.
Got to be purposeful with every defensive counter move you throw at her. We talk about the isolation abilities and one-on-one coverage there for Sydney Dumas. You got a defense on their heels. Fake to the right, go to the left, and a high to low shot. Bounce shot in the second time Lynchburg has gone to that high to low today. And here we go, back-to-back goals for Lynchburg. They've won a couple of draws. Now you start to feel a little more comfortable, especially being here at home. Still 3:25 to go in this opening frame, but Lynchburg, like you said, Evan, starting to get their bearings a little bit more on offense.
All comes down to confidence early on, and if you're Coach Rafferty, especially with a squad that you're almost still trying to figure out the ins and outs of, you know you have preseason, but when you get into those reps, especially in the first 4 or 5 games, it can be so crucial trying to figure out who goes where. The big puzzle still unfolding, but Lynchburg has cut the lead to 1. They will get the draw, and now time to run it out. King has it. Contact is called.
That contact coming off the ball against Hauser. He's done a good job since coming into the midfield circle. Got another green card, and it's again gonna go there against number 9 for SVU. Second card of the day against Addison England. She's got to really start to be careful out there.
England is another big contributor. Really, everybody who takes the field for SVU finds a way to contribute. Very small squad depth-wise, and you wonder if Lynchburg can find ways to run. Can you tire out your opposition? But the Knights are certainly ready. They have been there before.
Well, and Evan, that shorter roster is not that odd. Lynchburg's deep roster is a bit of a luxury, and you want to be able to use that as much as you can. So despite how long this first quarter's gone, again, these games that get a bit drawn out probably do favor the deeper team.
When anytime you have a rain delay the game before, it's already going to feel a little long going out the next one. Passing
Great
is
feed.
crisp. Find the net and find the equalizer. It is 4-4, and the Hornets once again getting back to goal central. It was a pretty one for Lynchburg, and number 20, Tori King, gets it done. Quick passing. You don't wait too long. You insert, and you tie this ball game up at 4.
And that's a lot of this Lynchburg offense. You work around the clock, and then that quick pass inside. Hopefully there's somebody there waiting for it. And it does come down a lot to the crisp passing and the crisp ball handling. I think you talk about, too, Evan, we've seen a couple of times today some of these Lynchburg players have had a little trouble corralling the ball, or even just with their stride, just losing the ball. And some of that might just be due to some of the moisture out here. Obviously, I'm sure the ball is a little bit slick and the sticks as well. But good job there for Lynchburg, staying crisp and staying cool.
Certainly got to be ready for any situation. We'll go ahead and look at the schedule coming forward. This is a Southern Virginia squad that will have their hands full, but they are going to be at home for a lot of it, so certainly ready for the contest upcoming. They will be going against Wittenberg on Saturday, Randolph-Macon Wednesday, March 13th, and Piedmont Saturday, March 16th. So an extended home stay. Obviously, you want to win this one, make a stamp on the road trip to open the season. And then for Lynchburg, it is at Meredith on Saturday, March 2nd. We remember that contest from last year. Lost 9-8 at home. Obviously, you're flipping, so this time on the road. And, Sam, we know that's a game when you're just trying to have a measuring stick comparing last year to this year. If you're a Hornets fan, you really want to have that one.
And I think the players have that date circled in their calendar. It's one of those, it's a winnable game, but all road games are tough. I think you hear it all the time. The good teams take care of business at home. You're not seeing many losses on your home turf, and you split the ones on the road. So that's one that Lynchburg's going to try to go out there and steal. That was a great game a season ago. Neely Morris had a great performance as Lynchburg's comeback attempt fell just off the mark. But again, that probably does put a chip on your shoulder coming into part 2 here in 2023. Lynchburg going out to Raleigh, capital city of North Carolina, try to take care of Meredith on the road.
It will be a big one. We will stay tuned to all the action. So much fun as we have gotten started with spring sports on Schellenberger Field, and it's a lot more fun when Lynchburg hits the opening draw, but great work on the other end. Number 22, Piper Searley, gets it back. We're going to wait, and SVU can keep on rolling.
Green card for cross-checking there, and it's going to go against Doherty. So these cards starting to pile up here on both sides. We've seen Doherty get one. We've seen Addison get a couple. We've seen Sydney Dumas pick one up. So a little bit of some early season aggression here. Aggression's probably not the right word. I think sloppiness leading to some of that physicality is probably a bit more apt.
If you're a coach, sometimes you like to have that energy as well. It's just, can you contain it? Make sure it doesn't have a big impact on the game. We'll see down the stretch how Lynchburg continues to adapt.
Evan, you were just highlighting it. This is a big game for both of these teams, and I think they're playing like they know it. A lot of hustle out there.
Early in this first quarter, too, you know you're going to get the other team's best. The question's going to be late in that third and fourth quarter, what can you get done on the other side? SVU will keep this one outside. Once again, working the passing. Lots of rotations, and we've seen a few opportunities, especially for Baisden off the ball, where she has found her opening.
Baisden with some close defense right now. It's being given by Tori King.
Great work from Corinne West to handle. We saw Searley was in the area code, got a few nice moves to get to the middle, but Lynchburg's defense collapsed. And now Tori King going to see what she can do.
Yeah, that was a great possession defensively for King. Now a little bit of trouble as Hauser's trying to clear here for Lynchburg. Hopefully Doherty can phone a friend. Looks like she will. But King on that last defensive possession, you talk about that face guarding. She's all up in Baisden's business and seemed to, take her out of the equation, then was great on the roll and the collapse, like you pointed out, Evan, to stop that secondary attack.
Sometimes defending those players can be so tough because maybe you do a good job of keeping Baisden out of the game, but then you open the gates for so many others. But Lynchburg has found ways. Steinow trying to get back, and foul will be called. So free possession shot on the way. The Hornets have gone back and forth with this early in the game. We know that SVU had a fair share of opportunities, and that one pretty obvious.
These free positions stacking up it's huge for Lynchburg. It was one of my keys to the game, and it was that way for a reason. And you talk about early season when you get some of this sloppiness. These are the games where you can rack up those free positions, but Lynchburg still just one goal in these opportunities.
We'll see what Steinow can do with this from the side.
It's worth noting Steinow does have that lone goal here. And talking situationally, 56 seconds here left in the first quarter. Could be your last crack at a goal until the second.
24 goals, 5 assists last season. She will elect to pass out. And now the Hornets continuing to rotate. Timberg had an opportunity. And here comes another one. 8-meter shot for Lynchburg. They'll try to keep the momentum. 47 seconds on the clock. And really coming out of this first quarter, just to be up a goal could maybe help your confidence. We know it is still very early. Steinow likes to insert. King gets a great pass inside, and Neely Morris finishes, puts Lynchburg up 5-4. It was a big tic-tac-toe operation for Lynchburg as they are able to seal the goal and put themselves up 1.
Patience is a virtue. Once again, we see Timberg defer, and this time it pays off beautifully. Again, Lynchburg works around the circle, waits until that seam opens up. That time it's Neely Morris in the center of the SVU defense, And as long as that person's able to weasel their way into the middle, this Lynchburg offense, as long as those passes stay crisp, should have a lot of success.
They've worked well from the left side of the goal. We've seen a few bouncers, a few just getting that opening and making it start to look easy. You think about the early draw control problems for the Hornets. It just seems like as they have inched their way back into it now ahead, that they have eliminated some of those issues, but SVU will take over. Here's Searly. Has a free lane if she wants it, trying to go all the way, drops the ball. Now a chance to get it back, almost forces a turnover. Pressure can mount very quickly. It's just about trying to stay patient. Hornets almost had a break, but a referee intervenes.
Yeah, Steinow made a play on that ball a little too quickly. Again, can't cross that red line. She snaps her fingers and says, gosh darn it.
It's one of those you really just wish you had a few extra steps. 12-6 left on the clock. We'll see if SVU can capitalize.
And you got to figure if you're Lynchburg here, you got to mark number 8. I would be very surprised if they don't go to Baisden here. They're going to reset the clock to 18 seconds. That's plenty of time to set up something on offense. We'll see what the Knights go to.
Bailey Bruce tries to lob the pass to English. Here we go. Time and space for SVU. And Lynchburg's defense waking up quickly. How about Neely Morris? The pressure. They're just going to have to lob it in. Goes all the way over. And just outside of the crease. We are going to wait for the call. Think it was off. Great stop for Lynchburg. And a very big punctuation mark on the first quarter. It has been back and forth the entire way. And we promise there is plenty left from Schellenberger Field. We'll be back in a moment right here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
Well, Lynchburg got down 4-1 early in this ball game. First-year head coach of the Hornets, Mackenzie Rafferty, went ahead, made that T signal with her hands, and since then, Lynchburg, who had not won a draw, rattled off 3 wins in the draw circle, rattled off 4 unanswered goals, and perhaps got the largest cheer of the day when her defense came up with that crucial stop to protect the score at 5-4 at the end of the first quarter. Of course, Lynchburg striking within the final minute as well. Here we go. Second quarter, Evan, and the defense for Lynchburg steps up a bit there at the end of the first.
You just got to make sure you keep that energy, and it was a really nice closeout to that first quarter, especially after what the Knights were able to accomplish early. It just never felt like Lynchburg had their footing literally and figuratively. We've got a lot of rain in the area, so you're going to see some fog coming right through Schellenberger. The other side, the Westover dorm, such an awesome atmosphere. And we were talking before the game, it's not every day you get this in February, but it's still pretty warm outside. I've enjoyed it today.
Absolutely, and there's something almost eerily beautiful about this picture right now. I swear there's almost no setting that can make Schellenberger Field any less attractive. We will note McKenna Steinow is going to be in the penalty box for another 42 seconds. Serving off that penalty. Penalties have been pretty large portion of this game early on, Evan. That first quarter, just with all the stoppage, took a great deal of time to get through.
Baisden just trying to get her eggs in a basket, and instead Lynchburg will take over.
Strano, another good play near the midfield.
Talked about her earlier. She has been an immediate contributor, and you think about this Lynchburg offense just continuing to function as we have seen an array of people who can get it done. Strano started one game to get this season underway, assist versus Methodist. Now the Hornets looking to add another. This time Tim Berg goes back outside to Tori King, and here comes Steinow. It just seems like she has so much energy. Whether she's on the sideline, in the game, it is always going. It helps this squad a lot throughout the game.
Yeah, Evan, I mean, seriously, when she came into the box after that penalty, I said it looks like she said, gosh darn it. Like, I really think that's probably what she said. Energy is a great – I mean, yeah, there's nobody on this team, I think, with more energy than 31.
Goalie got a hand on it, but this time she will not. Tori King cashing in a very nice play and a rebound for Lynchburg to step back up. 2-point lead now, and the Hornets are humming in the Hill City.
Second goal of the day for Tori King, and guess where it came from again? It was assisted, and it was in the center of that SVU defense. Going to have to plug the drain there and stop up some of those holes in the middle of the defensive third, because that's really the only spot, other than that one free position goal, that's really the only spot SVU's gotten hurt. It's been that free position, and then Sydney Dumas working one-on-one coming from the far side. But the other four have all basically been pretty similarly drawn up plays.
Obviously in a game where offense is so crucial too, you know you want to have the ball in your stick, but at the same time, it has just been that much more important today with how these two teams are going about their business. Tori King gets the sixth goal for Lynchburg, 56% shot percentage last year, and she is keeping things rolling. Here come the Hornets again as Doherty works outside. Hornets now, it just feels like a little more pep in their step every time they're making those passes. They have looked crisp. This time, Dumas likes to go back out to King. You like your chances as well with how King is shooting today. Shot percentage doesn't always show up every single game, but King has looked cool, calm, and composed.
I tell you what, Evan, everybody is shooting the lights out early on in this one. Lynchburg make it 7 of their first 10 shots, SVU 4 of their first 7, but it's all Hornets right now.
Another pretty look, and this time it is the freshman Maya Hauser. She has been doing big things for Lynchburg, the 5'7" freshman from Pinehurst, North Carolina. Talk about a big new addition to this attack. 4 goals already on the season, now make it 5 for number 28 in white.
Lynchburg getting its production from a number of different numbers, some similar spots, some similar results, but again, utilizing pretty much every aspect of this offense to its advantage and just slowly, methodically breaking down this SVU defense now to the tune of 6 straight goals. They faced a 3-goal deficit. They flipped that on its head and now lead it by a trio.
We'll see if SVU has some counter-attacking plans. I'm sure that they are not going to just lie down and let Lynchburg take this first half. Coach Cope's squad has been very resilient. USA South contenders, and last year just 1 loss in conference play. They have been very good with lots of returners and lots of goals in the blueprint.
Here we go again on the SVU offense. Let's see what they're able to do to get Baisden back involved in this game. When the Knights hit their stride, it was all because of number 8 and them running the offense through her. She's been a bit invisible in the last couple offensive opportunities, and Lynchburg wipes her off the board again. The eraser looks like Neely Morris.
Here's another turnover off to the races. Dumas running center of the field. She's going to get the pass, just couldn't collect. Lynchburg will have some backup as King will slot it back in. Time for Timberg. Now the Hornets, as you said, it is methodical as they try to make things happen. This time, goalie will keep it. Sorensen started the opener versus Goucher. Just 3 goals allowed. This SVU squad was really feeling themselves in that contest, putting up 15 in the goal column.
Well, it's not every day, Evan, that you see both teams coming in off of big-time wins, double-digit wins, both teams with first-year head coaches, both teams with first-year goalkeepers. You do not see that every day. And so I think you can give a lot of credit in that some of those first quarter struggles to a lot of those different factors, but both teams starting to settle in a bit now, and Lynchburg may be settling in a little better than their visitors.
Talk about differences, too, when you look back at last year. 6 returning Hornets who did not earn a start last season have found their place in the starting lineup early to start this 2024 campaign. So lots of new faces and new spots at least, but still some familiarity. Call on the far side of the field. Looks like Mariela Perez went down.
And this is that moment SVU has got to take advantage of the next 40 seconds. That's how long Sydney Dumas has left on her penalty. Doherty gets the yellow, and if I'm not mistaken, that's her second yellow of the game today. So Doherty, not a good look here early on for Lynchburg, and now 2 players down with their opponents on offense. They're going to switch that to a green card, it looks like, for Doherty. So no issue. She'll be able to return, but it is a 2-minute penalty.
Certainly, in a spot like that, 2 yellows are never an answer you want to have. But the Knights are going to try and use this momentum now. What can they do with numbers? And you can be methodical, but you also want to get at least a shot or 2 off. You know it's name of the game with how this offense functions. How about the defense on the close side of the field? Now the Hornets trying to get out and run. King gets the pass the other way. Transition. The Hornets looking to add on. Pass gets into the middle. Easy operation from number 22, Gabrielle Strano.
Well, she made it look easy, but Evan, I guarantee you it was not. In a game that's seen a couple of players in a couple different spots have some trouble corralling the ball, that might have been the most difficult attempt of all of them. Strano collects it off the deflection and fires it right into the back of the net. That might be our Sports Center nominee from this first half. The freshman coming in and making it happen in transition.
Well, Roxy LeBaron almost didn't know where it was going to end up because for a second you weren't sure if Strano was going to collect, but ground ball gets the opportunity and makes it very efficient. 8-4 Lynchburg. Wow, you wake up a giant, be ready for the effects, and the Hornets now are just feeling the effects of a big first half after going down early.
Make that 7 straight goals after that first quarter timeout from Coach Rafferty. Lynchburg seems to have shored up any issues that were plaguing it.
That's got to feel like a punch in the gut, too, with 2 Hornets in the penalty box, but still an opportunity for SVU. You have to focus on this draw control opportunity. Short-term memory, the name of the game. We have seen it time and time again in this sport. Momentum can build quickly.
Evan, we talk about great players making great plays, but it's a whole other thing to make great plays in situational context, which is what Neely Morris did on that last one. Once again, defense turning to offense for Lynchburg. And for a team that came in averaging a very good clip of 12 caused turnovers per game, they've already forced 10 with over 10 minutes left to go in the first half today. Defense has been impeccable and situationally just amplifies that.
Keeping it rough and rugged. You think about Baisden early in this contest, too, just the way that they were able to silence her production. What might the Knights have in store? But right now, Lynchburg still knocking on the doorstep and holding on to a 4-point lead. Doherty going to survey her options. Hornets, lots of motion. You think about this offense, they can rely on some big key players. You got Sydney Dumas, someone who likes to make her mark in isolation. Here's Hauser. Another dodge goes outside. They'll keep it. 30 on the shot clock. Pass inside. Once again, opportunity. And it is squandered, picked up by SVU's Baisden, and now she is trying to run.
Great rotational defense there from SVU. Lynchburg attacked with that isolation, couple of those ISO looks. Saw it with Hauser, saw it with Dumas. Those are your top 2 goal scorers. But the counter looks were great from the Knights, and they're able to get out of that possession without allowing what would have been the 8th straight goal for Lynchburg.
Such an interesting thing to look at this point of the season is how many set looks are you drawing up if you're Coach Rafferty, because this is a squad that I think collectively wants to have more and try to get some set looks just to have some predictability, especially with the new a new head coach, we should say, not coaching staff. Coach Rafferty wants to make sure they have those options, but obviously the isolation has presented some very nice looks.
That was arguably the first unforced error of the day for SVU. Sorensen did not have that ball come out the way she wanted to. As again, we mentioned those 10 caused turnovers for Lynchburg. No unforced for SVU.
Neely Morris says, never mind that. Another one slotted through. They are making it look efficient. They have stayed active on offense, and we just see right over top. Keep it clinical. Lynchburg now 8 unanswered.
Well, and they're making SVU pay. You know, that last point that we're making, SVU's done a pretty good job of not shooting itself in the foot. All 10 of their turnovers were forced, caused by Lynchburg. They have that last one, their first unforced error of the day. Lynchburg still makes them pay. Now, if SVU is able to avoid those unforced errors as this game progresses and hopefully just start to get some momentum on the offensive side again, some of the same things we said for Lynchburg early in the game. You know, it starts in the draw circle. Just take it piece by piece, but it starts right here. Lynchburg has started to take the edge at midfield.
That battle has been key, it feels like, to the absolute energy rush for this Lynchburg squad. Now some new faces in the game. And in the draw circle, we'll see if they can do it again. Waiting with 8:34 on the clock in the second quarter. Draw goes to SVU, and now they're going to try and end this run. What a run it has been for Lynchburg. It goes back into that first quarter, and after a timeout from Coach Rafferty, might have been the key moment of this game almost, because it feels like the Hornets have come out in a very different fashion. You wonder about some of the huddle talk coming out of those breaks. They have been ready to go.
I think one of those points of emphasis, you know, obviously it starts at the draw, starts on defense, but also what you do with those good defensive stops. Fast break opportunities are a big part of that, and Lynchburg, a big advantage on the clear. They've held, defensively, they have held SVU to just 20% on their clears.
Doherty had some fantastic defense. Now Bornholt trying to escape on the other side. Lynchburg has time. We'll get it into Dumas, and here's that transition again.
4-on-3 bake here for Lynchburg.
Tries to get through. There's the call. Saw Dumas' stick almost behind her head, and so now will be an opportunity to draw something up. Here's Neely Morris. Now you have the luxury of being patient at least to close out this first half. Sometimes you have that in a fourth quarter, but when you get that lead and put yourself in a good position, can really be methodical now. Neely Morris again. Number 19 knows all, and she knows best. Gets the net again. And Lynchburg in double digits. They are rolling on Schellenberger.
Rolling they are, and roll did Neely Morris. Rolls right off of the one-on-one look. Lynchburg turning to the ISO. Neely Morris running that point of attack that we knew she would run. That time she does not defer, takes the break on her own, gets the win again on those one-on-one matchups. Sometimes it's that simple, Evan. You got to win those one-on-one matchups. Lynchburg's just winning a lot more of them right now. That's a great move from Neely Morris, but it's also a simple one. It's a little sidestep, get you on the break, use my speed against your lateral quickness, and just get a good look at the goal.
Some of those one-on-one looks, it very rarely develops seconds before. You can put people in the right spots, but you got to execute. And Neely Morris has just had the confidence right off the stick to be able to stick it in the goal. Now 10-4, and the Hornets have a big advantage. They will get the draw, and once again, time to operate. Wonder if we will see a goalie change at all in this contest. You saw Carson Quigley, 5'7" junior from Fairfax Station. She will be the other asset on Coach Rafferty's squad. Corinne West right now, just 4 goals allowed. Early in this contest, very few saves as Dumas taking some strong contact. It's another free possession shot.
You could kind of see that one coming there as Dumas works left to right. Rotation was a little bit too early that time, and Dumas doesn't really see it coming, gets blindsided.
Had to think she was shooting. She does elect to pass, and now the Hornets can take it out. Good work from SVU's defense to collapse, especially with Dumas in close quarters. And here's another call that goes the Hornets' way. They will reset and do it again. 6:26 in the second quarter.
Once again, patience key there for Hauser. It was a great feed inside, but against the double team, she thinks twice about the shot. Now she's going to get the free position instead.
We'll see what the Hornets can do to operate. Here comes a shot, tries to bounce it in. Good work, and the goal from Sorensen.
Yeah, Hauser goes to that high to low that has had some success against Sorensen today. Lynchburg's beat her with it 3 or 4 times. That time she's ready for it. That's a good job. Evan, you talk about, putting people in the right positions. I think a lot of that comes down as a goalkeeper to sort of trying to guess where your opponent might go with their shot. There's only so many options they can go to, and you think about a PK in soccer. As a goalkeeper, you got to be a bit more predictive than reactive sometimes.
Well, like you said earlier, it relies on that defensive line up front. What can you do before you put the goalie in that situation? That's a question both of these teams have tried to answer, and when you leave that one-on-one, chances are pretty low for the goalkeepers as Lynchburg will get it back. There was another unforced error from SVU's squad. Pass just sails over Lynchburg's bench. The Hornets again can take time to survey. Here's Tori King, who's out to Timberg. So many people who can take the shot for Lynchburg. That's what makes things tough. Some extracurricular action will pause the action, and once again, Lynchburg going to take it from the spot. And looks like it will be number 31, Steinow. Fakes the shot, moving to the middle. This time, she might take it. No, just going to run off. She had the look, Sam. I think she just tried to stay a little too patient.
From our angle, looked like she had the look a couple of times, ends up deferring, but I think might have just psyched herself out of that one a little bit. The footing was a little bit weird. You do want to try to set your feet a little bit, so it might have just been some discomfort moving uncomfortably from that left to right and trying to shoot back across your body. You want to make sure you have the best look you can possibly have in that tough spot.
6-point lead, and if you're not guaranteeing you get it back, smart decision to wait. Sydney Dumas won't wait. She slots another one home, and number 7 having herself a day. Lynchburg now 11-4 in front, and it was easy operation. That was number 50 for the sophomore. Yes, you heard that right. The sophomore slotting home number 50. And Sam, you think about from day one in a women's lacrosse jersey here at Lynchburg, she has just been all over the field.
Absolutely, and we talk a lot about the goals. She factors in with assists and some of that play creation as well. Obviously, yeah, the goal scoring is probably what we're going to most remember. Not always at that point of attack generating things from the offense, but do not make any mistake. The offense runs through number 7. But right now, honestly, Evan, it's running through everybody. She goes to that high to low again, and I think you just got Sorensen backpedaling a little bit right now, just trying to get her bearings, probably hoping that the halftime break will come sooner rather than later.
We've seen lots of different looks, especially if you go back to that Methodist game. Some contributors from all over. Hornets won another quick one. Passing and the reversal. Here's Dumas again. Card will. No, it will just be a call in the circle. So once again, Lynchburg, 8-meter opportunity.
Well, and it makes sense, Evan, because Lynchburg going quickly there. They didn't have the passing lanes open, but did a good job filling the lanes, had people in position, so might have been a little over-eager jamming those lanes as we talked about pregame.
That has really stayed true to style from the game plan that we tried to calculate. Lynchburg would have time to bring it back out. Contact is called. And so Steinow with ball on her stick will try and put something else up. We've still got over 4 minutes in the second quarter. Just feels like Lynchburg has used every facet of their game. Straightaway chance. Steinow and Sorensen. We'll see if the pass comes. It's a bouncer. It goes in, gets her this time. We talked about it being a little predictable early on, but this time Sorensen unable to save, and now Lynchburg up to 12 in this first half.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. Lynchburg continuing to get the looks it wants on the offensive side, whether that's coming in the natural flow or in the free position. It took a little bit, but those free, easy ones are starting to stack up again in the second quarter, much like they did in the first. And again, you just have, we mentioned Sorensen, it feels like she's backpedaling a little bit. It feels like this whole Southern Virginia team is backpedaling a little bit. And we didn't look to our right much of the first half of that first quarter. Well, we haven't looked to our right hardly at all in the second quarter. SVU just frozen on that 4 in the score column. Just got to start generating some possessions. But with those issues on the clear, that's not really something you accounted for. Lynchburg not exceptionally great at stopping opponents on the clear. And coming into today, again, just a one-game sample size for SVU, but 80% on the clear, and they were good at it a year ago. So the fact that they're just 1 for 6 early on today is a bit surprising.
We've seen a few turnovers, too, just in untimely situations where you might have that chance to get momentum back and it still doesn't happen. And you just hope, if you're an SVU fan, that it comes sooner rather than later. Wait for the call. Looks like Tori King is going to head to the penalty box.
Reagan Bullock thought it might have been her. Some confusion there, whether it was 20 or 10. Will be King. Another penalty early on for Lynchburg. If you want to nitpick in this first half, really the only two things you could do that with were some early struggles in the draw circle and the penalties stacking up. But, man, I don't know if it's frustration, Evan, but this is starting to turn into quite the physical game. And, again, the field's wet, so some of the slippage and players hitting the turf might be due to that, but seeing a lot of body bumping.
This time Basin heads to the sideline. And, yeah, you think about, games like this, when you have conditions that are wet, there are fewer things that you can control. And so, obviously, that can be a product. But I just think SVU is feeling a little frustrated trying to get back into this game because Lynchburg has continued to slam the door shut. As Steinow, she almost had an electric pass that could have got the break going, but the foul was called. Now Lynchburg with time, trying to work to the goal as Bradley will decide to sit, goes over the head of Dumas. Nice backup work from Maddie Mueller.
Those are the plays people don't talk about too often. Mueller one-on-one just beating her opposition to the spot where the ball's going and keeping it in the attacking third for Lynchburg.
Timberg, a pretty pass to Steinow. Shot clock at 45. Hornets with just about 3 minutes in this opening half. They have put on a display after early struggles. If you're just joining us, Lynchburg was down early in this contest, 4-1, called a timeout, and you see the score line now. Opportunities left and right. King inserts the pass. Time winding down. Bradley slots the shot home. Number 4 puts it in. It's another bouncer, and it was just a very nice opportunity. They're getting it from range as well. They have had many situations where they're able to take that shot early. Number 4 getting it done.
Yeah, you talk about Reagan Bradley. We mentioned it earlier. Maybe some discomfort from Steinow trying to go across her body. Bradley that time, no hesitation, goes straight across the body again with the high to low. You're seeing those bounce shots. That's the product of that high to low shooting. That's what Lynchburg's going to because it continues to work. And obviously you do see it a lot more in the women's game. But those bounce shots, it's that ball placement, squeezing it in there right where the goalie has been unable to get to it so far in Sorensen. Lynchburg was walking the tightrope on that possession. You obviously didn't want to go too fast. 8-point lead here, still in the first half, and you wanted to get Tori King back in, but not much disparity between her penalty time and the one for SVU. So again, Lynchburg is able to really walk that tightrope beautifully and get the goal right before Baisden was able to jog back in.
Doesn't always work out that way, but use the shot clock. Got a pretty opportunity. Once again, the Hornets, it's just automatic at this point, finding a way to get back into the attacking third. Hornets with over 2 minutes to go. They have just kept it calculated. Now we'll see from this SVU standpoint if they're going to start guarding a little bit more closely individually, but the problem is it's been so many different people for Lynchburg who have gotten it done. Steinow in the zip code trying to get it home. Yes, stick to the ground. 14 on the scoreboard. Lynchburg is just having a blast on Schellenberger.
Well, Evan, early on, it looked like we were going to have a very competitive back-and-forth game. Then it looked like SVU might run away with it, and then Lynchburg calls a timeout. Fast forward to the 1:30 mark here of the first half, and Lynchburg has rattled off 13 straight. We've got a running clock now as Lynchburg leads it by double figures at 14-4. Trying to jump to 2-1 and rattle off two 10-plus point differences in their first two home games of the year.
Well, Sam, I'm going to ask you a loaded question. When was the last time that a timeout was the play of the game? I'm not really sure because it seems like today that's been the difference maker, and obviously we don't want to have a causation equals correlation effect going on, but this Lynchburg squad has just looked like a different team since going down early. Absolutely.
I mean, obviously players make plays, but coaches so great at putting those players in the right positions to make those plays, and I think that's what Coach Rafferty did here for Lynchburg. And you just wonder if we're going to see that timeout for the Southern Virginia contingency, just because, I mean, at this point, maybe you figure let's just get to the half, obviously with only 30 seconds. But at no point during this run have we seen that timeout. And it just feels like maybe SVU needs a break. It's just all Lynchburg running downhill right now. Hornets are going to look to score one more time before the half.
Odds certainly in their favor with how they've been able to operate in this second. Pass bounces through. We've seen Tori King being very aggressive out of the draw circle as well. She is speedy for her size. Pass inside. Steinow has to get one through. Did it get off? Is the question. We'll wait. Could have been a buzzer beater for Lynchburg.
Evan, I think she had it.
I think
they're going to give it to her.
Initial sight.
No, now it comes back off.
We will wait either way, in or out. Talk about an exclamation mark on what has been Lynchburg's half. It's going to be a tight one. That was a very pretty, nifty move from Steinow. Count it. The goal call from Tim LaDuca corroborates. Lynchburg 15, SVU 4. It has been all Hornets ever since the early going. The Hornets were hit. They got back up, and now they are sailing in the Hill City. So we're going to take a quick break. Evan Gates and Sam Graham having some fun on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. We'll be back with halftime stats and analysis.
Want to have some outdoor adventures while getting a degree at the same time? At the University of Lynchburg, we have an on-campus zip line and rope course. Plus, we offer adventure trips that cost less than a cup of coffee. And did I mention our beautiful scenery? We're a university for students looking for something more than just books. Welcome to your new adventure experience.
be a physical therapist probably starting about halfway through college. I love the concept that exercise is medicine. We're starting to discover that exercise really can remedy many of the things that we thought that only surgery or only drugs could remedy in the past. When the student comes here, it's because we believe in them, it's because we want them here, it's because we believe they'll be successful. The faculty here are devoted to their development, not only academically but also professionally. We're not so inundated with things that we don't have time to make students one of our highest priorities. We have your back. We're gonna help you through that. If you're willing to work, then we're willing to put the work into it and the effort to help you succeed.
Lynchburg is all about you, your ideas, and your goals. We've got one professor for every 10 students, so you can get all the support you need. In the classroom, in the lab, or in nature. You'll learn by putting yourself out there, and we're right there with you.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
Are you having fun yet, Hornet fans? We sure are. 15-4, and Lynchburg putting on a dominant display after a very interesting first few minutes of this contest. You weren't really sure what you were going to get coming out of the break, and now Lynchburg has just put up some astronomical numbers. Might be on record watch, but we have so much to discuss really quickly before the second half. Sam, what's your biggest takeaway from those opening 30 minutes?
It's got to be the 14-0 run that we're still on here for Lynchburg. This is an extended run, call it a long run. Lynchburg's been on it for quite some time, and they've done it in a variety of ways, but also a pretty simplified structure for how they're getting those goals. They're going to the bounce shot a lot, little drop shot, if you will, leave it on the doorstep and let the momentum of the ball do the rest. They have challenged Sorensen time and time again, putting on a clinic in terms of shot selection, 75%, just about unheard of. And, Evan, it's like we were saying, SVU 4 for 7, pretty darn good percentage themselves. You just got to get those shots up. As a Southern Virginia team that we know offensively can hang, Basin looked like perhaps the best player in this game through the first 7 or 8 minutes of that first quarter, came up with a first quarter hat trick. So I think the biggest takeaway is that SVU has just gotten away from what it was finding success with early on, and Lynchburg, on the flip side of that, has found success in just about every facet of the game. They turned things around at midfield in the draw circle. They've taken advantage and generated a lot of free position opportunities, and they've been able to run their offense pretty much at will, whether that's working in isolation from the point of attack or whether that's going to the assist, getting those feeds into the center of the field like you saw with McKenna Steinow there. By the way, 4 goals in that first half for McKenna Steinow.
Some smooth operation. 5 players on this Lynchburg squad have 2 or more, and really one big number to look at too. Southern Virginia now at 14 turnovers in that first half. We talk about just some of them being unforced passes over the head, and those can really add up because we know that they had an advantage from the draw control circle early in this contest, and it just seemed like as they started turning it over, it didn't really make as much of an impact when they were losing it quickly.
Well, and Evan, we're gushing on and on about the Lynchburg offense, and rightfully so. They put up 15 goals and a half. We had a running clock in the second quarter, but we cannot forget about the defense, whether it's been Neely Morris, Kaylin Satterfield's made some plays, Meredith Bornholt, Tori King. I mean, the list goes on and on. 12 caused turnovers for Lynchburg. That was their season average through their first 2 games coming into today. So the defense has been on full display as well.
So much to unpack. We're going to take a really quick break before the start of the second half, but we're having fun on Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Lynchburg up 11, looking to add on in the next 30.
I was really attracted to Lynchburg primarily because my dad went here. He is an alum, so I kind of had that close tie of being interested in this school. And the school had what I wanted to study. I knew I wanted to help people in the area of health and wellness, so the health promotion program was definitely a program that drew me in. And from day one, I've been in love with it, and I wouldn't have chosen any different. I have never had better professors or teachers in my life, and I think here at the University of Lynchburg, the professors definitely care about their students, especially in the health promotion department. These professors want you to be educated, want you to have the experience, and just want you to feel confident going into your career path following your collegiate education. You just feel like you're cared for here and that you matter, and that no matter what, at the end of the day, you're going to be successful, and the people here really want to be here, and everyone has a purpose, and it's just a great environment to be in.
Schellenberger Field, vibey in the late night, or we should say late evening, early night climate. It has been foggy, a little bit of rain out there, and everybody just having some fun. You see bottom left part of your screen, Lynchburg's bench always having fun, staying energetic and keeping it loose. Boy, have they really kept it loose on this 14-0 run, looking to see what they can do to maintain. And Sam, at this stage of the game, it's just about discipline and fundamentals. How well can you take care of the little things, because you know down the stretch you're going to have games where you don't have the luxury of being up this big, got to deliver.
Yeah, and if you're SVU, and Lynchburg can draw something from this as well, if you're SVU, you got to think about this in 5-minute increments. Win each 5-minute increment and see if you can get yourself back into this thing. Maybe even if you don't come back and win, you at least can close the game on a little bit of a run, garner a little bit of positivity. But again, as I've said a couple of times today, Evan, it's got to start right here in the draw circle. A great start to the game in that spot here for SVU, but they have struggled mightily as of late. But here we go. Open the second half and a win in the draw.
Push draw for SVU, and they quickly turn it over. So they got the break that you wanted, Sam, just not able to keep it, and now Lynchburg can bring it back out, but a little bit of a crazy pass of their own. This time, a Hail Mary to midfield goes over the head of Virginia Heffernan, and now SVU can't possess.
Well, and obviously I understand being aggressive, and you don't want to be too conservative even when you have a big lead. I get that, but those are the plays you got to just maybe think twice about if you're Lynchburg. Yeah, you do have an 11-point lead. You don't need to rush things. You don't need to go for that home run hit, just trying to clear the ball.
Well, sometimes it goes back to the scouting report. I think there, like you said, could have just been a big decision in the moment, but this is a night squad that likes to send numbers, and we've seen some of that high pressure, as you see right now, immediately trying to create some discomfort up front. But, I mean, Lynchburg has handled it every way possible. They're not going to be rattled anymore, as here is Heffernan advancing, trying to get this one started. Lauren Fling gets it in, trying to find corner. Some new faces in for Lynchburg. Chastity Corner will pick it up, the sophomore from Sterling, Virginia. You hear play call from Lynchburg's bench. They're going to continue looking to stay patient. They've got numbers at the top, wait for the cuts.
Lynchburg doesn't even send that play call in until 60 seconds on the shot clock. They're content to go ahead and let 30 seconds of it run off.
Here's another bounce shot, and on the doorstep, puts another one home. Carson Quigley, the 5'7" junior from Fairfax Station. Continuing the roll, Lynchburg continuing to go to a 15-0 run. They have been filthy down the stretch, and Quigley the newest addition to the score tally.
We've seen some pretty good runs recently on air, haven't we, Evan? That men's basketball game against Averett comes to mind, a 22-0 run to close the game. Lynchburg 15 unanswered to this point in this game. See if SVU can answer the call down the stretch. But if we, take a minute and break down Lynchburg continually going to that, drop shot, the bounce shot, leaving it on the doorstep and letting it go in. I think the effectiveness of that is it forces your goalie to make a split decision. Are you going to come out and remove yourself from the goal to try and meet the ball and risk misjudging it and it bouncing in anyway, or do you try to react to a virtually impossible to predict bounce from the ball coming back up off the turf? I think it just puts the goalkeeper in a really tough spot. And they're just going to have to, like we said, jam those lanes and get Lynchburg out of those favorable spots rather than try to stop it from the goal.
Well, I wonder, too, if the wet ground has anything to do with that. Obviously, you're going to have some crazy bounces either way. Don't think you can look into it too much, but there's always conditions that can find their way into the storybook. Referee will make the call. Looks like might have been a numbers issue that sends Tori King to the sideline. Green card.
Well, and Evan, while we have a moment, we can break this down even further. Sometimes it seems a bit pointless, but you even think about the field. You mentioned the moisture down there in the wet field, but also it's turf. There's turf pellets all over the floor. When you put that shot on the carpet with some force, some pellets are going to come up with it. You never know. Obviously, the goalies wear the full helmet, but it's not like it's a clean sheet in front of the face. Certainly could be susceptible to those pellets bouncing up as well.
West had gone out to collect. Now SVU will have an opportunity. This is a new turf field here at Schellenberger Field, as our friend Kyle Haney mentioned in the last game. West somehow got her stick on the pass, and now lost it again. SVU not going away. They might have numbers. But obviously a very pretty setting here at Lynchburg, and anytime you have a somewhat new facility, it is fun stuff. Here's Dumas. Sorry, Sam, to cut you off. Hornets have stayed in transition offense. Referee will call it before.
Yeah, just going back to that last play defensively, I was going to say a good decision by West. Yeah, I know she lost the ball. It rolls back behind the net. Good, smart decision by her to go ahead and let your defender try and track that down. Don't get yourself pulled too far out of position and leave that free goal open.
Dumas has an open opportunity. Free possession shot. She's done it already today. Can she put another one home? She will elect to pull this one out, attracting the defense, and finds her way back in. Another look where they immediately try to go to the ground. Sam, you have to think that has been in the game plan at least these last few minutes. Lots of shots going low.
And Dumas, forces the turnover one-handed. Keeps it on this end. But that was a good play there from Sorensen. Really the best we've seen, the best example we've seen of her reacting to that shot. I think Dumas might have left it a little bit shallow, not too as close to the goal as she may have liked. And it did allow that space for Sorensen to step in and get the body block.
Good analysis, and now Lynchburg trying to create another play. They have time on their side, up big. Have not allowed a goal since the early stages of the first quarter. It's got to be a confidence builder as well for a goalie in that situation. Corinne West, obviously your defense has been strong, offense is functioning, but just being able to see that on the scoreboard really gets you in the right headspace.
Good defense at the point of attack there, trying to rattle Fling up at the high top of the key, if you will.
Fling had everybody on her. Now it goes the other way. Lynchburg still searching. Shot clock still plenty of time, 34 seconds. Tori King pass inside, shot off the mark, and it rattles through. Fling trying to get it on the other side, racing to the corner.
It's going to stay on this end. That shot clock going to continue to roll. Lynchburg's gone to that inside interior cut 3 times. Finally got the look they wanted with Quigley, and she's able to corral it nicely. But another good stop by Sorensen in goal.
Sam, we've been in basketball mode the last couple of months. So much fun at Turner Gymnasium. It's kind of crazy when you see the shot clock here having those very fresh 90 seconds compared to the 30 that you see on the hardwood. And it just shows some of the craftiness that this offense can have, finding new looks, staying patient on the offensive end. They have done a very nice job of finding those cutting attackers.
Well, and even a little more time than the men get, just 80 seconds on the men's shot clock. So plenty of time to work, and the shot clock's still a pretty new feature of this women's game.
Corner inserts the pass. Hornets can keep it out as Quigley still looking. Here's Lauren Fling. 20 on the shot clock. They're doing a very nice job of drawing traffic. Question is, can you find who is isolated? Tori King tries to loft one over. Goes out. And shot clock expiring now at 4 seconds. Can you get a late shot clock situation? Probably not, as I think it would have been late either way. Hornets will relinquish possession. SVU can take over, and they're still just trying to find that attacking third.
And again, you never want to have a shot clock violation, but if ever there's an okay time to see yourself get forced into one, that would be it. Lynchburg, with that long shot clock, takes 90 seconds off, and time is their biggest asset right now. Obviously, the scoreboard helps as well, but down 12 scores and having just under a quarter and a half now to come back with a running clock certainly does not help SVU's comeback bid chances.
Sometimes a shot clock expiring is better than taking an early shot and having something on the defensive end. Here we go. Hornets trying to run again. Heffernan getting ready to lace up. Dumas finds her spot. Shifty to get to the center, just can't connect. And now corner will prepare the second opportunity.
She keeps you on your toes with those double and triple moves. I think the sidestep might be it. Then she changes trajectory, goes back the other way, and then, hey, what about one more just for good measure? Shot just a little bit off the mark there.
Stepping with intentionality. Sometimes you get into a headspace of where you want to do too much. Really just have to trust your offense, trust your partners in crime that they can get it done. Quigley had a good angle at it, just a foot outside the pipes. 5:50 to go in this third period. Certainly a lot quicker than that first quarter. We know there is running clock, but felt like it was a very long first 15 minutes.
Well, not as many penalties here and not as many goals. Lynchburg the only one in the second half. And despite that 75% shooting clip at the break, Hornets just 1 for 6 here in the second half. Again, you're resting on that 12-goal lead. You're probably okay. Sitting there a little bit, still north of 50%. But it has dipped here in the third.
Crazy to say dipped when it is still over 50. They have been functioning at a high level. Here's another instance where shot clock will hit 0. So SVU will take over. It's always interesting, too, in a second half like this where you have the luxury of using your bench. You think about players who are really in lineups that aren't as familiar, right? You have some from the bench, some of the starters. How well can you work together?
I'm sorry, Evan. I'm still trying to recover up here between my ears from that shot clock violation horn going off. I hope Lynchburg
jump scare.
Hope Lynchburg doesn't get any more of those. SVU for that matter as well. That's quite a noise.
Sorry for all the students taking naps before some late night homework. We've got lots of time to go. We're having fun. Evan Gates, Sam Graham. It's really so much fun to have spring sports back, and especially on a campus that has had so much success with spring sports teams. We don't want to override the narrative too much, but Lynchburg baseball last year, a national championship. So we see a little extra contact that warrants a yellow card on the far side. Looks like Tori King is going to get called and make the trip to the penalty box.
Tori King's taking up some residence there. Tough day for her today in and out of the lineup. She's given some valuable minutes when she's been in, but that contact has certainly continued.
she's not afraid to make contact either, and I think that's what you want out of a player, especially in that midfield where you cannot just allow the action to develop too much. You have to be present. We have seen that from Tori King. We've seen speed and strength, someone you're going to need down the stretch. Games like this, you can afford it in the non-conference slate, but we know ODAC action coming very soon. Hornets moving left and right. Here's Heffernan, and she has open ground. Hornets looking for number 17. We said earlier at halftime you might have to look at the record books. The squad put up some nice numbers in the opening 30 minutes. It's slowed down now. And if you're SVU too, you just have to use this as some practice for that defense as well. Sticking to those fundamentals. Not always going to get those opportunities from the draw control. Can you stay disciplined? No call as Corner tries to turn the corner, and Fling wraps around, no good.
First time we've seen that look for Lynchburg today.
Here's Dumas. Tried to keep it short, can't connect, and another quick turnover.
Yeah, shout out to Sorensen, though, Evan. She has exercised some demons here in the second half. She has looked pretty close to flawless. Let that first goal get by, but again has held Lynchburg just 1 of 9 shooting here in the second half. And I know Lynchburg's taking its time. I know they're staying patient, but they're still looking to get good looks, and they're taking a lot of these shots close by the goal. It just feels like Sorensen's finally gotten her bearings here on Schellenberger Field.
Well, we mentioned she is just a freshman and having her first collegiate game and first collegiate win against Goucher. You just get ready to see a little bit of everything. That's what college lacrosse is about. You're going to have lots of highs and lows. How well can you manage those moments and not let them become something they aren't? Call, well, keep it close. Margaret Scoggin, freshman from Raleigh, North Carolina. 5 seniors graduated for Lynchburg squad last year. Pretty balanced attack in terms of having that youth as well as the wisdom and experience up front. And Sam, I think that's what every winning team wants to have, a little bit of everything.
Absolutely, and but you still get to rotate some younger legs in here right now. Try to get everybody on the field, and for these two teams coming into today, 3 prior games between the two of them, and all 3 blowouts, and this one trending that way right now. 10-plus point decisions. It's been interesting. Just no close games early on, and that's I think you can have a lot of maturation moments in those close games. So I think to a certain degree, both of these teams wouldn't have been mad at having that sort of game. But if you're Lynchburg and Sidney Dumas, you're probably okay with a hat trick and a 17-4 lead as well.
Number 7, your lucky number, weaving in and out and beats the shot clock. Adds another one to the tally, now 17 for Lynchburg. Look at the timing. You have 3 defenders, you have the goalie. When do you let go is the question, and she waits really until the last moment, keeping it unpredictable. It's those little things, Sam, that can make attackers like Sidney Dumas so special.
100%, and that's where you talk about a good system can go to great when you have sort of those wreckers that you can throw in, those game wreckers, and Sidney Dumas is that for Lynchburg, that off-script player that, you have a lot of good players and a lot of great players on this team. You always need those 1 or 2 that can make those plays that you don't necessarily count on. It's one thing to convert on the free positions and get the shots that you should make, but again, like I said, you got to have 1 or 2 players that can make the shots that you're not supposed to. You hear it said all the time about goalkeepers as well. A great goalie is the goalie who can stop every shot they're supposed to and half of the ones they're not supposed to.
Absolutely, and you just think about, these situations where, again, a lot of it is off script. A lot of lacrosse is not all clean like a sport like basketball where you're trying to draw things up. You do have moments where you can do it, especially with a long shot clock, but not afforded that luxury. West gets her stick on it, and SVU continues to stay in the drought that goes back to the first quarter. They have just had trouble in the second half. Credit to Lynchburg, though. They have done a phenomenal job and used their aggression to stay in this one. And a name we said a lot early on, number 8, Kaya Baisden, has really been kept at bay as the clock winds to 0 in this third quarter. We're going to be right back on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. We've got 15 fresh minutes to finish things off here on Schellenberger Field. Back in a moment.
Be ready for anything, okay?
Come on, let's go together. Together, let's go. Come on. Let's go, keep going.
Carry this the best to it. Straight? Straight up, yep. Yeah. Go! Good one. All right, guys, you see the meat grinder down here? Stay in the boat, let's go! Camera? Oh, what'd you think of that? Woo!
Back in the 4-3-4, and we've got one final frame to go here on Schellenberger Field. Lynchburg has been efficient, and they are holding on to a run that has just seen so many different goal scorers. That's what you want to see for a lacrosse squad that is really forming its identity like every team in the spring sports column. You just want to make sure that you go into March, April, May feeling really good about yourself.
The rain's starting to come down pretty good here on Schellenberger Field. No problem on the Lynchburg side of things. SVU came prepared with the rain jackets. Lynchburg not too worried to play in the rain here for these final 15 minutes.
When is there going to be a game where it's sunny and 70 outside? That's my question. We've been waiting, and again, when you're inside for a lot of sports, it's a little bit different. Doesn't matter what's going on outside, but there have been some crazy days in Lynchburg to open up the spring season. Here's a shot, and it go off the pipe. It was everything but. No pun intended, as Piper Searley just couldn't finish. Lynchburg somehow escapes as Heffernan works to the far side.
Sometimes the jokes just write themselves, don't they, Evan?
Oh, it's really easy when you just let the plays develop sometimes. Lynchburg, again, can slow things down, want to try and keep those unforced turnovers at a minimum. Ideally, you want to have 0 in this fourth quarter, but we know this game has lots of different moments, different situations. Pass goes inside corner, was behind it. She will corral. And almost couldn't see this one as it rolls through. And it looked like number 25, Jenna Norco, was on the receiving end. She'll pick it up and resume. 47-6 on the shot clock.
Pair of goals for Norco last time out. Working her way into the rotation here in her third year with the program.
A junior from Woodbridge, Virginia, has been very solid. It's what you love to have, a team with lots of different players who can get it done.
A big Ravens fan as well. She was a little disappointed a couple of weeks ago.
I think a lot of people were disappointed not named Taylor Swift fans, because the Super Bowl certainly had wrinklings that could have been pretty cool, but I think could have almost said the bad guys came out on top. Great work by Sorensen. Looks like it was Margaret Scoggin on the doorstep. 4 ticks on the shot clock. Another shot rattles off the turf. No good.
And look, it's not necessarily going to show up because this game with just 12:54 and ticking remaining likely has pretty much reached its conclusion here, barring something miraculous. But Sorensen has put together a very, very nice second half here. Just one goal allowed so far.
Baisden had the 1-2 step, just couldn't finish. And that type of half for the Knights. They have had a few looks to start this fourth quarter. Yeah, credit to SVU's defense and the pressure that they have been under, still able to keep Lynchburg at bay in the second half. Flag up. Finally, the call comes through as SVU will settle. And looks like a free possession shot is on the way. And if you're in this situation as a Knights fan, or let's just say Coach Cope, Sam, what do you think the biggest thing is coming out of this game? Obviously not the scoreline you wanted, but you have to turn things around quickly.
Well, again, road games are always tough, and they're extra tough when you get them early on in the season. So you probably knew to that extent, you take away the skill of these two teams completely, just playing on the road can be difficult early on in the year. So I think, not that you rationalize it, not that you ever want to lose by it's a 13-goal disparity right now. But, first and foremost, you're trying to pull things, whatever you can, out of this fourth quarter. Make something happen. Reach 100% of your clears. Win 100% of the draws. Don't commit a turnover. You got to set some goals like that. And I'm sure that is probably about what the narrative was like in that brief timeout before this quarter started. Maybe it's on the defensive end. But, set those little goals and just try to capitalize on those. And you can at least take away a few positives heading into the next contest, which will be back home against Wittenberg.
As we said, a quick road stand, and we'll go back to Buena Vista. It was a nice look from Scoggin that was off the mark. Fling had a nice pass. Here is Scoggin.
Meanwhile, Lynchburg's going to be in North Carolina for a brief extended stay.
Mr. Graham's home state.
March 2nd at Meredith, March 11th at Piedmont. Then they'll come back here for a spring break date with Messiah. It'll be Messiah's second trip to Lynchburg in this academic year.
Here's corner before the whistle came off. Yeah, Messiah had a really interesting NCAA tournament affair in men's soccer right here on Schellenberger Field, one of the best teams in the country, falling victim to a big upset against Ohio Northern, who escaped in one of the best LHSN tapes you're going to see. It was a crazy affair against Lynchburg the night before. Here's corner, sets it up and fires. Number 9 puts number 18 on the scoreboard. Chastity Corner makes it look simple as she delivers, and a big free position shot. You see it didn't take much time, just went straight at it, able to escape the sticks and fire it home.
Well, we mentioned sometimes the jokes write themselves. I was hoping if we got a corner goal, it might come from the corner, but instead it came from right down Main Street. Lynchburg gets back to that 8-meter spot and makes SVU pay. Just when you think you've got all your bases covered, you haven't accounted for those free position looks that Lynchburg, after a slow start, has made so much of its money on.
They have been firing away, and it's just been that relentless attitude that they have had that has carried them on this scoring streak, because you can score goals and you can do it at a good rate, but when you can't link them together, or let's say the draw control becomes a problem, it's very sporadic. Lynchburg has just had foot on the gas pedal from that opening quarter, and they have slowed down the Knights, especially with Baisden's attacking abilities early. Corner trying to get her stick up. Now it's to English, trying to connect the dots and see if they can break this drought. And I think especially from a mental standpoint, you would love to get one on the board here in this fourth quarter.
For what it's worth, Evan, if memory serves, 19 was the most goals scored in a game by Lynchburg last season. So threatening dangerously close to that now, that 14-goal lead.
Obviously, it has slowed down in the second half, but they have still had scoring at will. Chastity Corner, the last one to enter the goal tally. SVU trying to pass and find the options. It has been a brick wall that they have been up against, and Lynchburg's defense, some of the unsung heroes that we were talking about earlier, Satterfield and Bornholt, just all these different defenders who can get it done. This time, was it in is the question. It might have been another one off the pipes. We've heard multiple shots now that have just skimmed out.
That was about one of the better looks we've gotten from SVU in this second half, or really since we've gotten out of the first quarter. Good break to the goal went Kinsey Polson, whose name we have barely called today, but she got the jump on Maddie Mueller, working to her left. Still a solid rotation from Lynchburg coming over, but as you saw, obviously was able to get that clean shot off, just ricochets off the pipe instead of the nylon.
Now Lynchburg magically finds itself right back in striking position. 7:20 running clock. In the final moments of this contest, we've had lots of action here on Schellenberger Field as we get started. Fling, arm angle low, insert and play. Number 11 puts it home, and Lynchburg has tied that 19-goal mark. She made it look real easy, and we have seen that time and time again. We'll have to see the replay from Lauren Fling.
Yeah, she made it look real easy, Evan. I can tell you it is not. I happen to have stumbled across a women's lacrosse stick a time of 2 on my own, and doing that low scooping shot, yeah, that's not easy. About a parallel with the ground there, maybe even a little less, was the stick of Lauren Fling. She puts it in the back of the net nonetheless. That is not a shot you're going to go to every single day when you're talking about women's lacrosse.
As we said earlier, sometimes it's about reading the circumstances. Now smiles all around for Lynchburg. And Lauren Fling, we've seen her around that attack quite often throughout this contest. Just a great job to read and react. Sophomore from Culpeper getting it done as Maya Hauser will go to the draw circle. 5:57 to play, and now SVU looking to energize this attack one final time. Just a few minutes to do so. We'll have to go back and look at the stat sheet. Unofficially, we'll say a lot of goal scoring from Lynchburg from a variety of different contributors. That's what you want to see at this time of the season. How many can you get in the goal column? Is SVU going to lose it momentarily? Recollects. Now opportunity on the far side. Still tight defense and great work from Carly Jackson. Ball slips through. Heffernan has it. And the Hornets trying to escape out the back door. Here they go again.
Hornets maybe looking for their 11th different goal scorer. Hornet Stats and Info came in with the assist. It's been 10 different goal scorers so far.
Right, we get it here. It's going to be called for a free position shot. So the Hornets have another opportunity. Yeah, it's not every day that you have that many even getting a shot in a game, much less a goal, and it has just been discipline all around. Here's the opportunity, slipping out. Corner going to take it up front. Pass from Scoggin, and now Jenna Norco on the far side.
Think about it this way, Evan. Lynchburg, through its first 2 games, averaging 11 goals per game. Today, they've had just about that many unique goal scorers. And again, we still got 423. Strano.
Almost had it home. It looks like the ball was deflected, and SVU can't escape. Baisden now getting the clear.
Keep an eye there. We know Baisden can run, but a corner keeping with her stride for stride there. And obviously it is hard to go at an absolute full sprint when you have the ball, but maybe not as difficult as it would be in, say, soccer or basketball.
Well, we know fitness at this point, it could be a question mark. I think it's safe to say Kaya Baisden is really in shape and ready to go, but she has played lots of minutes in this contest, and it can add up, especially when you have some of Lynchburg's bench coming in. Player down. Looks like whistle was called before the shot. They'll try and get some of the athletic training staff out there to take a look. And so we will take a very quick break here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. 3:30 to play on the other side. We'll bring it home in Lynchburg.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Looks like everything is good to go after a moment where it looked like could have been an injury, but everybody is good to go. Lynchburg just trying to finish things out. The final seconds of this contest. It has been a very dominant affair for Lynchburg. Number 5, Maddie Mueller was the one down on the play. SVU finally breaking the drought. It was a pretty move to get there. And Mackenzie Polson, as we said earlier, hadn't said her name a lot in the second half. She comes through, the freshman from Lexington.
Yeah, that was somebody SVU was kind of waiting to get going. She had 3 goals last time out against Goucher. That would have matched the Gophers on its own. She does finally reach the scoring column. Again, the big story is Baisden with the hat trick, but those top 3 goal scorers, it's really mainly just been Baisden that we've heard from today. Surly, a rough day at the office, and then Polson does get one here in the 4th, but obviously the game at this point well out of reach at a 14-goal margin. So just some things to think about for SVU moving forward. Long season to go, only game 2.
It's good to know it now, too, because, I mean, you think about what this season does in terms of so many different opponents, so many different styles of play, and to have a game like this early isn't exactly a bad thing. I mean, Lynchburg got it started against Mary Washington, a school that's a very formidable opponent. Now the Hornets are rolling again. Dumas looks to Norco. And really a fresh shot clock as well, so Lynchburg might only have one more possession after this one, if not any, but it has been a stellar effort and a chance to get to 20. They are at 19. Obviously, at this point, they will be patient until the final ticks. Norco still searching, as we said, 2 goals last game, isolated and ready to play. There's number 20 for Jenna Norco, who slots it home.
3rd goal of the year for Jenna Norco, an extended hat trick, I guess. 2 goals last time out, gets the extra one today. A really nice move, though. Gets the defender onto her shoulder, then shifts the weight back the other way. Able to fire that one straight on in. No bounce required there, just the back of the net.
And with Norco's height at 5'2", she has that angle where she can go over the top a little bit easier. It was a nice, patient look for Lynchburg. We've said that a lot today. We don't want to get too much like a broken record, but it's hard when they have had so many scores that have just been either inside-out action or that isolation that has really allowed Lynchburg to capitalize. 40 ticks left, much like the last contest versus Methodist. Running clock all the way home. And the Hornets and Hornet fans will be feeling good after this one to move to 2-1. Mackenzie Rafferty officially has a winning record as a Lynchburg coach.
And they'll hope to build on it. Again, that road trip coming up in the Old North State. It'll be Raleigh up first, taking on Meredith. And again, that's going to be a big one. You know, no games on the road are easy, but that one's going to be particularly tough, a revenge aspect there for Lynchburg. And then you stay in NC against Piedmont. It'll be 9 days later, so I imagine Hornets will come back to Virginia first things first. But try to find some success in North Carolina coming up next.
Well, so much fun today. They were finding success all over the place today. 20-5 the final from Schellenberger Field, and we'll take a few moments to analyze the action, but it was lots of different scores. We talked about McKenna Steinow in that first half. She had 4 in the first 30 minutes, and really since it was just Lynchburg's game to continue rolling, and they have had so much energy out there to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've talked about it a couple times already, but again, that 4-1 advantage for SVU feels like so long ago, and then the run that just kept on going. It was finally answered after it got to 15. 19-4 was the score. That was 18 straight goals rattled off for Lynchburg before SVU answered with that Polson strike just a few moments ago. But that would be the only time SVU would score the rest of the way. All Lynchburg here this evening, and it's one of those games where it's almost hard to even analyze because it feels like there's just not much Lynchburg did poorly once they seemed to, adjust to this game, the level of physicality and the kind of game that SVU was playing. Maybe it was a bit of a shaky start, and that's something you can shore up. You don't want to find yourself in those holes when you're playing Washington and Lee, Randolph-Macon, Roanoke, some of those ODAC opponents later in the year. But from that point on, from the point it was 4-1, that timeout by Coach Rafferty, everything came up Hornets.
Well, and like you said, there are competitors out there where you go down 4-1, that's game almost, because it just feels like such an unbearable weight early on. But Lynchburg has been resilient. Credit to Corinne West, and we'll also give credit to SVU's goalkeeper Madison Sorensen, and really tested. Lynchburg shoots over 50%, 20 goals on 37 shots. The Knights 5 goals on 14. And Sam, I'll let you say your final word, but overall, you just have to think getting these 2 wins, having a little bit of confidence going into that stretch against Meredith and Piedmont, that never hurts.
2-game road stretch coming up. Thing I always say, you got to win one of them. 2 is, beautiful. 1 is good, keeps you right on trajectory. You just want to avoid a fruitless trip there when you head down south. But, final closing thought, we still have not seen a loss on this new turf here on Schellenberger Field. That's 3 wins to start things off. So we'll see how long that streak goes.
We hope it goes for a really long time. We've had so much fun from Schellenberger Field. It was home game 2 for this women's lacrosse side that is now spotless on Schellenberger Field. Would like to thank the entire production crew. And on behalf of Sam Graham, my name is Evan Gates saying so long from the Hill City.